Yesterday there was a couple came to see me, young couple, seemed a bit desperate. Said, "What's the problem?" "We want a baby." I said, "You're coming to a celibate monk to ask for a baby. Perhaps you're in the wrong place." But it's maybe a reflection or just a example of how everybody wants something. Monks want nibbana, which the Buddha said is the unborn, the undying. It's kind of the opposite of making babies. The end of birth and death. That's why it's called the highest happiness. But even monks, they might want nibbana. So if you haven't got nibbana, then you're not happy, not content, not peaceful perhaps. Because whatever you want will bring you suffering. Wanting in its nature disturbs the mind. Because you want something but you haven't got it. Or you want to get rid of something that you have got. So in the case of baby, I guess you want to get rid of the lack of a baby by having a baby. If you want nibbana, then you want to get rid of the lack of nibbana. You want to finish your practice. So wanting, desire, the Buddha identified as the cause of suffering. When you sit down to cultivate mindfulness in any meaningful way, like meditating, walking meditation, sitting meditation, straight away you encounter the mind that wants things. Could be just simply you want to go home. You want the bell to ring so the session ends. Or you want to move because you start noticing discomfort in your body. Or some deeper wanting comes up, wanting associated with your life. If you have some illness, you want to get better. You want a baby, that might come up. If you want to get a new job or a job and you don't have a job, it will come up. You want to make friends. You want to separate from a friend or a partner. All kinds of things will come up, disturbing the mind. But you could classify it all as wanting, one kind or another. When the weather's too cold, you want it to be hot. When it's hot, you want it to cool down. When you're hungry, you want to feel full. When you feel full, you want to feel relaxed and empty again. Endlessly disturbing the mind, this wanting. So the Buddha and all the enlightened beings, they've stopped wanting, and that's why they're peaceful, that's why they're happy. They're not happy because they got what they want. It's just wanting to get things, there's no end to that. But they've seen through wanting itself, seeing it as a delusion, as a cause of suffering, and then they've abandoned it. But to do that, you have to practice, you have to train your mind. So that's why when you come to meditate, it can be hard work, even though you're just sitting there. Many people in the world think, oh, if you just sit there, you're not doing anything, you're not producing anything, getting anything, what's the point? Of course, if you're cultivating the Buddhist path, you are doing something. You're cultivating all kinds of skillful qualities, even though they might be hard to cultivate, but you're aiming to bring up mindfulness, and clear comprehension, wisdom, understanding, insight, effort and energy, kindness, compassion, all kinds of skillful qualities. You're aiming to bring these up into the mind and cultivate them further. Who is doing all this wanting? The Buddha liked to divide a human being up into different component parts to help us see more clearly what we have as a human being, see the truth. So he would talk about a person as nama and rupa. Rupa means form or material form. Nama means mentality, the mind, and things based on the mind, mental activity. But already the Buddha just using these terms to divide up our experience, nama on the one side, rupa on the other, already depersonalize it a little bit. You could say all your thoughts are nama, whereas all your fingernails are rupa. When you say nama and rupa, there's no name there, there's no person so much, it's just things. This was a way the Buddha encouraged us to look at our experience rather than taking everything very personally, which tends to feed that quality of wanting. I am a person wanting something, whether it's wanting spiritual goals, I want to be peaceful, happy, want to know things, or material things, I want a new car, a new house, new this, new that. The Buddha was helping us to look behind it all and see, well, there's this being, we call it a human being. It's not that there's nothing there. There's a person, you might say a person there, but you can divide the person into rupa, form, nama, mind. Or literally name and form. Forms, the physical form, that's also got its component parts, like the mind. Physical form, it's just nature, isn't it? It's just natural. It doesn't come with a name. The mind, human minds, is what gives every aspect of form a name. So the way the Buddha talked about form, he said, well, there's the solid bit, earth, the liquid bit, water, the bit that shows temperature, heat, hot and cold, and then there's the bit that is the gases and the movement in the body, the air, the breathing, air. But it's humans who say air, or heat, or temperature, or water, or solid, or earth. These are names, these are labels that human beings think up. It's convenient, so it's not that there's anything wrong with having a few labels. But they didn't come with those labels. These natural elements, they just exist in nature. And they come together, say like when we talk about making babies, you have an egg that's fertilized. These are natural elements, very small, minute, so small tiny you can't see, unless you have a microscope or some equipment. But what research has shown us over the years, over the centuries, is that there's a small egg that's fertilized. And the Buddha added to that, well, then you get consciousness, nama, joins in. So you get nama and rupa beginning with an embryo, fertilized embryo. That's what we call life. Then it grows through nourishment, first from the mum, from the blood of the mum, the air that she breathes and so on. And then of course after birth, then food and drink baby is nourished and grows. There's just these natural elements without a name, without any labels. Even consciousness is something that doesn't have a label. We call it consciousness so we know what we're talking about. It helps us to communicate. But consciousness, you could say mind, that which knows, is very difficult to pin down, isn't it? You notice that when you meditate. Where is the mind? Often you only know the mind by the reflections of the mind, say what's being said. Say like if the mind starts talking or thinking, you might think, I want something, then you notice the mind, don't you? Some states of mind are so refined you don't notice them very much, they're so subtle. Of course, the beginning meditator just falls asleep. Just now someone was snoring. The mind goes dull when there's not a lot happening. Some states of mind are very subtle, there's no thought at all. Usually you only know your mind through thought, through wanting, and we get so used to it. We're just used to the chatter, the words, the moods and the emotions. I like this, don't like that, want this, don't want that. But that's all man-made, or woman-made, whatever, human-made. But because our mindfulness and insight, we haven't trained the mind, we just straight away grasp at it as me, mine, myself. So Rupa Dhamma becomes me, all this solidity and liquidity, air and temperature becomes me, my body, and then the feelings and the sensations it gives, my sensations, my body. I'm hot, I'm cold, I'm big, I'm small, I'm this, I'm that. And then the mind that's labeling it all and thinking about it. I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm peaceful, I'm not. This is all what the Buddha encouraged us to investigate. And the purpose is to understand, to gain wisdom and understanding so we can free ourselves from it, from the craving, the wanting, the attachment, which if you never investigate just is going on all the time, whether you realize it or not. Most of the time we don't realize, do we? We're just going about our business. Get up, eat food, go to work, visit our friend, go shopping, do this, do that. That's all going on in the mind, the back of the mind, the wanting, the craving, the attachment. You tend to only notice it when you change and start, say, practicing mindfulness. Interrupts the flow of wanting, especially when you practice mindfulness, like sitting meditation like this, walking meditation. The flow of wanting is interrupted. And it can be quite hard work, quite difficult to face up to the wanting, to stop it. Like trying to stop a stream of water takes effort. Maybe you have to go and find things to do that will help you to block that flow of water, to dam it. So you have a stream, to dam a stream you probably need lots of rocks and earth and maybe some machines and a lot of effort, and then you might be able to dam it and make a pond. Your mind is the same. To get to see and know your own wanting, it takes effort, mindfulness. That's one of the reasons most people don't want to meditate. It requires effort and they're not willing to do that. They don't yet see the value of it. They go, I can't meditate, I think too much. I can't meditate, I'm not peaceful. I can't do it, my legs hurt. Or something or other. There's always excuses and reasons. But that means you're making a choice of just following the endless wanting and the moods and the results of that, which is suffering in one way or another. Where we get the strength of mind to be willing to practice mindfulness and face up to the wanting is through faith in the first instance. Faith, belief that it's worthwhile. So faith in the Buddha, faith in the noble ones, people we've met or heard about or read about, who we believe have done this and have managed to tame their mind and abandon this wanting. And then the next step is you've got to have the faith in yourself. Oh, well, if they can do it, maybe I can do it. Not necessarily easy, but other people can do it, I can do it. Other people start off with exactly the same raw materials. The body, the mind, the nama, the rupa. Everyone starts as an embryo in mother's womb, gets born, learns things. We've all got the same raw materials, we've all got the same opportunity to learn and hear the Dhamma, learn the Dhamma, process it, understand it, and practice. So if they can do it, I can do it. Once you have a bit of faith yourself, then you're willing to work with this mind that wants everything, wants the world. The songs say everybody wants to rule the world. That's how we feel. We all want to rule our own world. We want to be in charge, in control, get everything we want. That's the normal kind of human experience. Doesn't matter which country of the world you're in, whether you're in a city or in a countryside, whichever part of the world you're in, whoever you are, this experience tends to be universal. That's another thing the Buddha noticed. He said, well, everyone is following this mind of wanting all the time. And that's why they suffer. That's why they have competition and conflicts. That's why people, even just sitting on their own trying to meditate, can still suffer. It's because of the wanting and the not wanting. But we can learn from it and train the mind. It takes effort. So once you have some faith and self-belief, then it leads on to effort, doesn't it? You're willing to practice some meditation, listen to the teachings, think about it, understand it. And then maybe one day you practice and you actually experience a little bit more self-control. You have more control over your mind, and then with that you'll get a feeling of peace, happiness, joy. Because whenever you manage to let go of at least a little bit of the wanting, something better arises in its place. The mind that is more content and happy. Doesn't mean to say all the wanting will be finished, but when you can see the wanting for what it is, already that's like a step up. So that will lead to even more faith, more belief, oh, this is something worthwhile. So in meditation we have to be very patient as well, willing to be with our different moods, the mind when it's not peaceful, all the sensations, feelings in the body. Sometimes you feel tired, feel hot, feel cold, some pain. Because it's never still, and it's never quite how we like. What we tend to do when we're not practicing is go looking for things we like to take our mind off it. You say, I want to take my mind off my problems, whether it's your health problems, your physical problems, or your mental problems. We're always looking for distraction and things to do elsewhere. Put our mind, put our attention elsewhere. But the more we do that, actually the mind gets a bit weaker, softer. Doesn't have much ability to be patient and look at things. So you have to keep reminding yourself. That's another part of the practice, reminding yourself what you have to do and why. Re-establishing the effort, bringing up the faith, and keep doing it. what often happens is the wanting kind of migrates or moves onto new things. So maybe when you begin your practice of meditation, you realize, oh, I've still got lots of very ordinary wanting, planning your holiday and planning your next shopping trip and wanting this and wanting that. Perhaps as you understand your mind better, some of that fades out, which is good. You might call that progress. But then you move on to maybe wanting states of mind that are very more peaceful, more subtle, more refined than before. So you want states of samadhi or bliss, or maybe you want particular insight into impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, not self, and maybe want nibbana. Still the same problem, wanting, but the object of the wanting maybe changes over time. So the Buddha encouraged us to keep practicing to build this firmness of mind, strength of mindfulness, strength of insight through practice. Make your mind really strong so that it doesn't always fall back, just seeking distraction and pleasure all the time. Actually can rely on itself sometimes, just to be aware and to know things without wanting anything in particular. You notice when your mindfulness is strong, thoughts come up, but they don't bother you too much. Because there's different kinds of thoughts we experience. Like when you're mindful, you'll still have thoughts coming up from the past, say, memories or sense impressions that trigger different reactions of pleasure, displeasure. But if you're mindful, it can just be that much. Oh, it's just a memory. Oh, it's just pleasant sensation, or nice food, or food that doesn't agree with me, things that agree with us, things don't agree with us. One can know all that and just let it go. But the kind of thinking that causes us more suffering and more deeper suffering is when we don't let go, and whatever is stimulated keeps going. We keep building on it, proliferating, making stories, making up things out of our experience. That's what we call fresh karma. Like when you have a pleasant memory come up and then you want to get more of it, get it again, get it back. Or you have an unpleasant memory, you want to get rid of something. You keep thinking about it, get rid of it, don't want it, complaining, unhappy. This is the more significant kind of thinking because it's where you make karma, fresh karma or new karma. A lot of our thoughts are just old karma coming up, kind of bubbling up, surfacing, and you'll notice as you meditate, it's just a thought, just a memory, it comes and it goes. It's not really a problem, as long as you have some awareness. But the more karmically significant thoughts, and things you cling on to and really obsess about, and leads on to action as well, leads you to do things. Seek out the things you want, seek out to get rid of what you don't want, or destroy or push away the things you don't want. Often with the mental proliferation, that kind of more deeply ingrained habits of thinking, quite hard to let go of that. You just have to follow it along, just know it at first. Just be aware of it. Oh, I'm caught into this proliferation at the moment, really thinking a lot about this problem. It could be anxiety, negativity, could be fear, could be strong desire, selfish desire. You really want something and you can't stop thinking about it. Obsession. So a lot of the time you have to come back to just patience. Oh, just be patient with it. You can't stop it, you can't let it go, but at least know it. Oh, it's going, here we are, caught in this mental proliferation again, this story. I've seen it before, here it is again, maybe. But hopefully you learn from some of this experience and mental proliferation gets less, and you get less caught up into your moods and the streams of thought, the more mindfulness you practice. So maybe in your meditation sometimes you get to the point where your mind becomes really still, quiet. Not much thinking. And just knowing. Watching, knowing, learning. And you may even direct your mind just to know certain aspects of your experience, what we call nama and rupa, body and mind. You can investigate impermanence, just as we chanted earlier. Physical things are impermanent, they're changing, growing, born and dying. Mental things also impermanent. Thoughts come and go, memories come and go, they arise, they cease. Different moods and emotions, they arise and cease. Observing that and learning about the nature or the characteristic of impermanence helps you to see beyond just the normal kind of self-view. Everything is me, mine, myself. Seeing things more in terms of causes and conditions. When you have a pleasant sense contact, gives rise to a pleasant mood, maybe some desire based on that, what you like, you want to get more of it or hold on to it. Well, it's not really a person, it's just coming from a lack of clarity. So you have a pleasant sight, a pleasant feeling, and you want it, so you hold on to it, or you want to seek it out. Unpleasant things lead to a different reaction. But you're looking beyond just the impermanent changing nature of things, looking at the conditioned nature, causes and conditions, rather than seeing everything as me, myself, this person, with a sense of ownership. You're saying, oh, when I'm happy, it comes from causes. You're seeing that, or knowing that. When I'm unhappy, there are causes for that. Rather than always blaming somebody, oneself, other people, which is what we tend to do. When we're not sharp enough, we look for scapegoats, people to blame, things to blame, life to blame. Sometimes we blame life itself. I hate life, as though life is a person. We can't help doing that. Our thinking is like that. Or life can be really good. When things go well, life is good to me. Life is my worst enemy, life is my best friend, I like life, I don't like life. It's like almost introducing a whole new personality into our experience and giving it the title life. My good life, my bad life, my happy life, my sad life. But the Buddha encouraged us to practice more mindfulness so that we can see what's going on more clearly and use the strength of mindfulness and insight to see these things that we normally identify with are impermanent, unsatisfactory, not self, not to be clung to as self. If we can really see that, know that, then it frees the mind from a little or maybe a lot of delusion. But we have to keep practicing, keep putting effort into the practice. Keep listening to the Dhamma, reflecting on the Dhamma, keep practicing the meditation, keeping the precepts, offering dana. It's a whole system of practice. We offer dana because normally we're wanting stuff from this world and getting entangled in the world through all this wanting. When you practice dana, you're doing the opposite, aren't you? You're sharing, giving away, helping. So it also helps to reduce some of the wanting that disturbs our mind. Keeping precepts, living in a moral way, counters the wanting that fuels all the desire to get the stuff from other people, stealing and all the kind of selfish ways you might take advantage of others. And the violence, the aggression of the mind, wanting to hurt others, get rid of others, compete with others. keeping precepts already quietens a lot of the wanting of the mind down. But to truly quieten it and see through it and abandon it, we have to develop meditation. It's a system of practice. Sila, Samadhi, Panya, or Dana, Sila, Bhavana, helping us to see and know wanting, the mind of wanting, and to let it go. The idea is that one day, you keep letting go long enough, one day it will stop wanting altogether. That's the Arya Pugala, the noble one. They want for nothing. The mind is just focused on Nibbana. So maybe I'll leave you with these reflections tonight.